What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Emphasis on Sports. It's a new year, 2025, starting a new season. We're going to talk about things that happened last year, sure, but new season. I know I've been out for a minute, a couple weeks actually. I think last time I potted was almost a month ago, but there was very good reason. Officially married. You know, we had to have the wedding. Then we went on our honeymoon. Wonderful, beautiful times. Congrats to my new bride, Natalie. Looking forward to spending my life with her, right? But she knows she deals with the sports guys. So we're going to talk some sports. No doubt. All right. A lot of things that we missed. I'm not going to recap all of that. Missed week 17, week 18, the NFL season. A lot of college football. We know where we're at now, though. So there's still a ton to talk about in the sports world. And let's start it off with college football. So the college football playoff for me has been pretty cool to see. There's a lot of people that really didn't like the first round because of the blowouts. You know, and definitely something I talked about earlier in the season. There was going to be a lot of pushback on, you know, those teams that set 13, 14, 15, 16. Hey, we would have went in there and did better. You didn't earn your way in. Sorry. You just happened to not earn your way in. There's people that looked at the teams that had the buys. Did that make them a little rusty? Did they deserve to have an actual buy? They did. Did it make them rusty? In a lot of cases, more than likely, yes. But you know what? That's on their coaching. That's on their conditioning. That's on the mentality and the culture of those teams. So everybody pump your brakes on all the excuses. The teams that got there deserve to get there. And the results were the results. That's all there is to it. Not every game is going to be great. Now, what we did get was we're able to trim all that fat to get to this wonderful semifinal we've had the last couple nights. Fantastic games. Cannot say enough. Can't overstate it. Can't overstate it whatsoever. Great games. And for both games, first halves, a little shaky. Then here we go. Buckle in. It's going to be a hell of a ride, right? So first game in the semifinal, Penn State, Notre Dame, that one, man, looked like a sleeper. At some point, Penn State, 10-0. And I'm really sitting there like, oh my God, this is going to end up being a 13-7 game or 13-10 game, just something just second half, click. Both teams stepped it up. Both teams ended up coming down to the end of the game. Hey, Notre Dame, congrats to Penn State for getting in the position that you were in. But Notre Dame, you held it down. You did what you were supposed to do. You held off Penn State and you matched them wit for wit, pick for pick at certain times. Congrats to Notre Dame. See you on the 20th, right? And then last night, Texas, Ohio State. This one was such an interesting game. Ohio State comes out 7-0 lead, right? Takes Texas damn near a half to get it going. They score, and one of those, you know, every now and then you're watching a game and something really cool happens that's unexpected. Ball snap for Ohio State. The announcer says, we got to watch out because at any point this guy can break for a long one. Boom, he's gone. Awesome. So then they go up 14-7, and it just continues to be, when second half started, just continue to be a really good game. Texas finally got their legs under them. They're moving the ball a lot better. They were playing a lot better, a lot nastier defense. But Ohio State, they had their lunch pails packed. They were ready to go for the full 60. And they did. And with all of this, I think Ryan Day really shut a lot of people up, really saved any thought on him not being there. Shut all that up. Ryan Day did an outstanding job. He coached his tail off. And now, see you on the 20th. Ohio State, Notre Dame. This one is, I believe, going to be a hell of a game. If I'm going to call it real on the pre-game, give me Notre Dame. Give me Notre Dame. Ohio State is a great team. I'm not saying give me Notre Dame by a whole bunch of points. Maybe 2, maybe 3. It's going to be a really close game. But I think Notre Dame's going to be able to eke this one out. If at any point Notre Dame can get a 10-point lead, I think they can win this game with no problem. And I think they can come from behind on Ohio State if Ohio State has a 10-point lead. Now, Ohio State, they're a fantastic team. There's nothing bad that I'm going to say, nothing negative that I'm going to say. I just don't think that they're going to win the game. I think it's going to be a great game. If Ohio State comes out on top and is a national champs, cheers to you. It's not an upset or surprise, none of that. They're a damn good team. And like I just said a couple of minutes ago, Ryan Day shut a lot of people up. Shut a whole lot of people up. And we see what Marcus Freeman's over there doing. He's looking like this is what coaches that end up somewhere for a long ass time end up looking like at the beginning. You get to a team, you right the ship, and then you slowly get them to where they should be based on their quote unquote history, right? With the alumni, the boosters, and all that. And like, this is Notre Dame. Notre Dame, you should be playing for championships all the time. That's why they're not in a conference. And Marcus Freeman looks to have got them back to that. So the coaches in this game, both of them, they've done a lot to get here. One has kind of climbed the mountain to shut the fuck up. And the other one has climbed the mountain of, yeah, I am back. And I'll be here for a while, right? So big shout out to the college football playoff. It's actually been real, real cool. We'll continue to talk about that over the next 9 days. Game will be on the 20th. Really, really looking forward to that. All right. Now the NBA. NBA has been, it's been all right. It's been all right. I still can't get into the NBA all the way until after the All-Star game, after the All-Star break. Even though I don't really watch the All-Star game anymore because it's become a joke. What they're trying to do now with it seems stupid. My hot take on what the NBA should do at the All-Star game is as simple as this. Whatever they give the winning team, let's say you give the winning team 50 grand, right? Give the losing team absolutely nothing. You do that, you have a little more competition. Or you could adopt the model that the Major League Baseball All-Star game adopted some years ago. And I know they got rid of it, but it did help with the competition level. It did help with the coaching. It did help with the thought process. Winner of the All-Star game, winning conference, that's who hosts the NBA Finals. So if the Eastern Conference were to win the All-Star game, they hold the keys. They get the home court advantage come NBA Finals. I think that would drive players, especially your best players that are on actual good teams. I know in past years we've seen some teams, some of the better teams have 2, 3, and in certain occasions 4 All-Stars. And listen, whether you want to say that they deserve it or not, they have these multiple All-Stars because of their records. Well, if you say the winner gets home court advantage, now you have those 4 players playing at a higher level because they're looking at shit. We might be one of the teams sitting there at the end to get to the NBA Finals. Let us play better in the All-Star game. Just a thought. Simply a thought. But either way, in the NBA right now, big shout out. You see the shirt. I'm not a fan. I just happen to live in the Cleveland area. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are absolutely smoking the league right now, 33-4. And they've been playing some damn good ball. They lead the Eastern Conference. Oklahoma City, the Young Guns, they lead the Western Conference. And Cleveland beat them in a really one of the better games that's been around the NBA for a while, at least on the regular season. Cleveland knocked them off. Cleveland is a team that is seemingly, if healthy, they're ready to challenge for an NBA championship. And I'm here to see it. I just happen to like the team. They just seem like like Oklahoma City also. Young Guns. And I like to watch teams build. I remember the Warriors, back when Mark Jackson coached them. I like to watch that team because if we're talking about Draymond, Steph, Clay, when they're younger, and some of that original core that they had, you could see them build and you could see them enjoy playing with each other. It's what I see with the Cavs. It's what I see with the Thunder. But there are some really good stories and good things going around the league. Now on the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics, they're still in second place. They're still a damn good team. They're going to be right there at the end. What the Cavs have to worry about is 1, staying healthy, and 2, Boston. and the number 3 team, the New York Knicks. Cat has been having a fantastic year ever since he's been traded. We know that the Knicks are a solid team. They got really good players. Josh Hart continues to absolutely ball. He does all of those things. He's the grinder. He's like the new age Rodman, just a lot less weird. You know what I mean? But he's like your grind, get it out the dirt guy. Love watching Josh Hart play. Love him. And then the relationship that him and Brunson have is real cool. You could tell that they're friends. You can tell that they love each other and respect each other and all that. But either way, Cat's been having a great year. Milwaukee Bucks, they're starting to right their ship. They're starting to figure it out a little bit. There's always going to be, or there always has been a little bit of how do we play together all the way with Dame and with Giannis. I think they're starting to figure that out. I know Chris Middleton just went to the bench, which is okay. You want somebody to lead that second wave. We got to a point where I think everybody believes in the NBA you have to be a starter to be a legend, to be historically great. I got a name for you, Manu Ginobili. I got another name for you, Tony Kukoc. These are guys that came off the bench, got rings, well respected. Well respected. Nobody's going to sit here and say Manu Ginobili wasn't one of the best players that they've seen. Dude will come in, and he's going to give you 20. He's going to give you timely buckets. You need somebody on the second wave that's also going to play those last couple minutes, but understands their role. Chris Middleton, he may be that with them. He may. Now, the Orlando Magic, they're still bopping along. They're still in that playoff contention. And it's been marvelous to see because they've lost players, man. They've been like hit by injury so much, but they do have a team that's sticking together and playing good ball. Now, the rest of the East, to me, is all kind of middling. Pacers, Heat, Pistons. Shout out to the Pistons because last year they were ass. So for them to look the way they do this year, to me, I'm going to hold them in a little higher rank than the Pacers, the Heat, the Hawks, the Bulls, because the Pistons ain't supposed to be here. They're not supposed to be here. Meanwhile, you got the damn Philadelphia 76ers in the 11th seed right now. Yuck. I'm not going to go into a big, long tirade or anything like that, but this is part of the reason why the NBA has fallen off in viewership. You know, you have guys that play when they want to play. And listen, you can put lipstick on a pig all you want, it's still a pig. We all know what's up out here. When some of these guys only play when they want to play, I'd rather not watch you play at all. Period. I'll move on to somebody else. That's been happening far too much in the NBA. Maybe I'm wrong. Probably not. It's just how I feel, right? Now let's move to the Western Conference. We talked for a quick second about Oklahoma City. SGA is out here balling. He's looking like I think it's going to be between SGA and the Joker for the MVP. They're both playing extremely high levels and doing some fantastic things with their team. Oklahoma City, as good as they are, and they're on top of the Western Conference. When Chet comes back and gets it going, they might be a juggernaut in the West. As weird as it may sound, the best finals may be Oklahoma City and Cleveland, which a lot of people will hate. A lot of people won't want to watch. I will love because those games will be intense and exciting. I'll love it. Now, moving down the line in the Western Conference, you got the Houston Rockets, which, look, Ime Udoka, he's gone to Houston and he's been doing something. He has those guys balling down there. Them young boys, they're getting it done. I kind of can't say anything bad about Houston. They're going to be a tough one to watch. They're going to be a tough team to beat down the stretch because they look like they're playing together and they're young and they are hungry. Memphis, they're going to go as far as Ja Morant goes. They're a good team, but Ja's the linchpin of that team. They're sitting in third. They're sitting all right, but the teams right behind them they're going to close them. They're going to close in on them by the end of the season, I believe. Denver Nuggets, I said Joker. Joker's having another MVP type season. The addition of Russell Westbrook, I think a lot of people didn't understand or maybe just didn't believe in Russ, which is crazy because of some of his last couple years. I think people forgot that the dude can play with stars. It's just how those stars play with him. What we're seeing out of Russ and the Joker, where they're both having triple doubles on the same night, multiple games. This is showing you that there's great value in Russell Westbrook. So some of y'all owe that man an apology or at least just say y'all fucked up. right? So they're moving down the line. Dallas, Lakers, Minnesota. Minnesota, I think, really needs to get their stuff together. The Julius Randle cat trade does not look like a good one at this moment. Maybe time to move Randle. We'll see what happens there, of course. Golden State Warriors, they're sitting on the edge of extinction right now. It may be time to just start changing up that team. It really might. Now, at the bottom of the West, this is where things get weird in the West. So the Spurs, who they're not supposed to be good, they're doing a lot better than teams like the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns, all-world talent, just moved Brad Beal to the bench. They're still trying to figure out a whole lot. How are we still trying to figure this out? How is that? These guys didn't just get there. Got to do better, Phoenix. Got to do better. The New Orleans Pelicans, they're a team that's just so weird to me. They're 8-31. Zion came back. It's the team flight. Got suspended. They should be better than 8-31. Still got McCollum. Still got B.I. Yeah, there's some players down there. Got to do better. Just got to do better. But the NBA season, it is starting to roll some, which is cool. I will be paying attention to it, not nearly as much as I probably should, but like I just need a less boring brand of basketball. That's a huge one. The basketball's been kind of boring, man. These guys are leaning on this three-point shot way too much. There should never be a game that's on TV where teams combine to miss over 73. That's nuts. That would get me not to watch you anymore. If a person had never seen basketball before and watched that game for the first time, they'll never watch basketball again. Now think about stuff like that. All right, let's think about stuff like that. All right, look, let's move on to the NFL. So now NFL, there's a lot going on. A lot of moving parts. Right? I want to go over the end of the season, and I want to, talk about the playoffs and what's going to happen. So as we've talked about, as we see, I'm a 49er fan. That shit doesn't go away because we had a shit year. It doesn't go away because we missed the playoffs. It doesn't go away because we suck this year. Simple as that. Got to be honest about it. You can make all the excuses in the world. There were winnable games that the 49ers win. This is why I'm being prepared all weekend to watch teams that aren't mine. Now, I'm not stressed. When I'm done, make some food, kick back, get ready to watch some football. You know what I mean? But it's just a different thing, has a different texture to the weekend. Either way. All right, so end of the season, there were a couple things that happened. One of the biggest things is Cincinnati missing the playoffs. And I kind of say it with a smile on my face because I live in Northeast Ohio. I'm in a Browns town. Everyone knows the Browns are sad. That's the story of their life. So ain't really gonna worry about that too much. I do have some Bengals fans. The other day I bumped into one of my buddies, Bengal fan. I got on my Niners hat. It's cold here. We're snowing, right? So I got on my Niners joint. And first thing he says to me, is like, damn, man, what happened to your team? Obviously, we were in the Super Bowl last year. Terrible year this year. I looked at him and said the same thing that happened to your team. We getting ready to watch the playoffs this weekend at home. First thing the man says after that is, I can't believe Kansas City let Denver do that to them just to keep Joe Burrow. First game of the season that they lost was to New England. They lost some very winnable games down the beginning of the season. So that last game that somebody else had to win or lose, that wasn't your fault. That wasn't their fault. Did anyone expect Kansas City to play their starters? To possibly enter their starters? You got the number one seed locked up. You have to do absolutely nothing. You could lose by 3,000 points, and you're still the number one seed. Let me get my guys rest. Let me get my guys that play deep into the season, that challenge for Super Bowls. Let me get them rest. And these are experienced guys that know better, that know how to be prepared. So I don't think we see that rust factor that happens with a lot of teams. I don't think they cared at all about Cincinnati. It's about us. You telling me I can give Mahomes and Kelsey and Chris Jones and all my guys 2 weeks off instead of one? Shoo, sign me up. Come on now. Cincinnati, you win the games early in the season, we're not talking about this. But you didn't, so we are. right? I happened to spend week 18 in San Diego, California on my honeymoon. Big shout out to my dude Rico. So I went to Vikings Backers Bar in San Diego. What was it called? The Garage in San Diego. Fantastic bar, Viking stuff. I wanted to, I'm walking around the gas lamp area, and I really wanted to find a sports bar. You're in a different place. Of course, and there's sports bars kind of everywhere. There's tons of TVs. They had TVs in restaurants where I wouldn't think they had TVs. So I stumbled across this Vikings backers bar. I want to go there to watch the 49ers game. Last game of the season. I know this, right? So I'm in there. I'm hanging. I got my Niner hat on. You know what I'm saying? Niner shirt on. Chilling. Watch the game. Of course, Niners are sad. Lose that last game of the season. Of course, knew that was going to happen. But in walks my guy Rico, right? Young cat from San Diego. We chop it up, pregame to Vikings, Detroit. I'm believing because now the place is filling up. It's filling up. It's filling up. It's filling up, right? We're having a great time. We done sampled some weird ass barbecue bourbon, but we chopped it up, and I finally got to understand a little bit of Vikings Nation, of what they see and how they feel and how much love they have for this team. And mind you, I'm all the way across country from the Vikings. Rabid fan base, solid people, really into it, really into the team. I had a great time. Hanging out. Got a little tipsy. But man, Detroit came out, put them hands on 31-9. Put them hands on. That being said, one thing that I have said all season, and I will stand behind, Detroit's the best team in the NFL. It's what they are. They're missing players. This was a game that mattered. That absolutely. This you could look at as a playoff game. This is a game that mattered. Detroit did their thing. On the Minnesota side, and we're going to talk about this a little more once I get to my playoff recap, you got to execute. Take that fear out. You get punched in the face, punch back. Minnesota has the pieces. I like Sam Darnold. They got to do a little bit better. And I feel a little stronger about this because I was surrounded by damn Vikings people. I'm actually learning what skull meant, that's an actual, a thing. I had no idea. But, man, that was a hell of a time. Want to send some love. Shout out to my dude Rico out in San Diego. Let's see what the Vikings can do. I'm not going to talk a lot of junk, but let's just see what the Vikings can do. Other little small news around the game, Deshaun Watson. All right. So, this is crazy to me. Deshaun Watson ruptures his Achilles ankle in Miami. Now, first of all, bro, you're supposed to have on a boot. If you actually want to play, if you actually want to come back for a team, you're supposed to have on a boot. Now, I'm going to say that because that needs to be said. What do I believe? I believe this is a mutual Chiefs-Browns Deshaun Watson play here. In a lot of ways, I think the Browns, they want to move on. They have to pay him. They don't want to cut him. Because I think if you cut him and he goes somewhere and he looks good, you look bad, you got to pay him anyway. I said this earlier in the season, to me, I don't feel like Deshaun Watson really cares about the game of football anymore. I think it's just a job to him and not a love to him, which, homie, do you got a hell of a bag. But this is just real interesting, especially living in the Cleveland area, talking with people about this. A lot of people, have varied thoughts on this. My thought process, and I've talked about this for a little while, my thought process is very clear. Clean the entire house. Fire everybody. Listen to the GM talk. The dude sounds like he doesn't really know what he's doing. Get him out of there. You want to talk about Kevin Stefanski? He's this great coach. He's not. He's a coach. He's all right, coach. He's all right. I'm not gonna shit on him, but it's just time, bro. It's time to go. Quarterback, go draft somebody. Don't try and draft Shedeur Sanders. I guess it's been made clear that he does not want to play in Cleveland. That would be a very Brownsy thing to draft Shedeur Sanders. But go get your quarterback. And don't start him. Keep him on the bench. Listen, it's Cleveland. The fans here actually understand their team. Don't play in their face about it. because it's starting to get interesting for me as a non-Browns fan living here. I'm like, damn. I've heard people say we're going to go get Kirk Cousins. Why? It doesn't help your team. This team isn't built to go win a Super Bowl. They're not a quarterback away. They're a lot of pieces away. Wipe the whole slate clean. Go draft some guys and actually build the team. Get a good, experienced coach. Good, experienced GM. Don't get first-year people. Don't get first-job people. Don't do that. Don't do that. That shit doesn't help you. Not at this, because you don't have anything set. Go get a Pete Carroll. Go get a Pete Carroll. He's experienced. He knows how to build it. That's not a bad look. It's not a bad look. But will they do something like that? I really doubt it. Really, really doubt it. All right. Other things around the league. So one thing I really didn't like, I think Pro Bowlers that were selected after week 17. How are you selecting anything? How are you giving anybody any awards or accolades in the league when there's still games to be played? That's crazy to me. That is crazy. And also, we're speaking on awards and accolades. I will say I think it would be good for the NFL to give all of their accolades that they give at NFL honors. Give that shit during Wild Card Weekend. It doesn't have to be this big ass. You don't have to be in Madison Square Garden with gowns and suits and all of that. Just give the damn awards. Either that or wait until the season's well over. I mean, the whole thing. Super Bowl, everything. But go ahead and give the awards. I've always kind of dug how the NBA gives the awards during the playoffs. So if you're the MVP and you didn't make it, you accepting this at home, champ. Shout out, Dirk. But that's fair. To me, that's fair. Well, we got to have a whole thing for it. Let us celebrate. If it's the MVP and you made it to the Super Bowl, let's talk about that then, like the entire AFC NFC Championship run. Let's talk about that there. How great of a player and this, that, and the other. Also, I think there needs to be a distinction between MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. I'm not going to throw names out there. I'm not going to do anything like that. But I have heard some really good points and good takes on the difference. You could have a great offensive year, but not be the MVP of your team. Fair. That's fair. But I think at some point the line got blurred. And with the line being blurred, that also means that it's typically going to be quarterbacks that win the MVP. And there's players out there, man. Saquon's had a great year for Philly. If Saquon's not there, what do they do? But you know that's not my job. I don't work for the NFL. If I did, maybe there'd be a little something, right? All right, let's talk about Wild Card Weekend. So today, 2 games. Really looking forward to seeing. Actually, hold on. Let me backtrack. Let me make some apologies. So at the beginning of the year, I made my predictions on who was going to win divisions, who was going to go to the Super Bowl, and I was wrong as shit. I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to BS. I'm not going to beat around the bush. In certain areas, I was right. In a lot of areas, I was wrong, but let's talk about it, right? So in the AFC, super wrong. Crazy wrong. I had the Browns, the Jets, the Dolphins. I had all 3 of those teams in the playoffs. All of them gone. Not there. Right? I had the Jets winning the AFC East. What was I thinking? I had the Browns winning the AFC North. What was I thinking? I was tripping. I got the West and the South right, but those were kind of layups. Buffalo and Baltimore, I had them both in the wild cards. They made it in. I literally had my Super Bowl team for the AFC as the New York Jets. I was wrong, and I was loud wrong. I should be able to say that. That was a terrible, terrible pick from me. In the NFC, also pretty wrong, but I mean, as you see, some of that comes from me being a little bit of a homer. Now, I know the Niners suffered a lot of injuries this year. Brock Purdy didn't have a great year. Our coach didn't have a great year. But regardless, we had a lot of games. There were a lot of games. Could have been in, could have played a lot better. Didn't, so we're at home. But in the North, I had Detroit. Got them. In the East, Philly. In the West, San Francisco. Did not work out for me there at all. South, Tampa. Then I had Atlanta and Chicago in. I was giving some love to them teams. I shouldn't have. Really shouldn't have. Then I had the Rams. So I essentially had 4 teams in there. It was still as bad as the AFC. And of course, Super Bowl, I had San Francisco. I was wrong. I was wrong. So I wanted to make note of how wrong I was on some of my early season predictions, because I feel like if you're going to do this, if you're going to chat sports, if you're going to, kind of sling mud at people and all that, got to be able to say when you were wrong. And on my predictions this year, I was loud wrong. So now it's time for new predictions. Right? Let's see how fucking wrong I am. So in today's games, we got the Texans versus the Chargers. Current line, you got the Chargers -3. Game is at Houston. I don't have a lot to say about this game. The Texans, of course, their receiving core decimated with injuries. I know Nico's there. Mixon's been having a good year. But on the Chargers side, whatever they're doing has been working. They just happen to play in the same division as Kansas City, which makes it a little tough. But for them to be the 5th seed, fantastic for them. I like the Chargers here. I like the Chargers. I like the 3. Gimme LAC. Big game for Lad McConkey today. I think he's going to have a ridiculous game. Guy's been great this year. The night game tonight. The night game. AFC North battle. One of the big ones. One of the ones you want to see. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. This one, batten down the hatches. I'm waiting for it. I think this is going to be a fantastic game. A great watch. Current line is Baltimore by 9.5. I like the Steelers to cover. I like Baltimore to win. It wouldn't surprise me if Pittsburgh pulled it out in this game, but I think it's just going to be a little bit of a closer game. I think the Steelers are going to step up some, but Baltimore, they're rolling. They're wagging. Nothing really you could say about it. Lamar is looking like he's having another MVP type year. A lot of chatter, him, Josh Allen. Lamar's been rolling. We know that. We absolutely know. But the big stick there is Derrick Henry. Baltimore ain't had one of them. That's going to be a big one. That's going to take a lot of pressure off of Lamar also. Like I said, I like the Ravens. I like the Steelers to cover. So then tomorrow, first game of the day, Bills, Broncos. Bills are hosting the Broncos. Right now, the line is Buffalo -8.5. I like Buffalo here. I like them to cover. I would be absolutely shocked if this was less than a touchdown game. Hey, Denver, shock me. Shock me, baby. Shock me. But I think the Bills are going to come out and just have a really good game. I don't think they're going to absolutely beat the crap out of Denver, but I think it's just going to be a good game. Buffalo is, at least over the season, they've proven me wrong. I thought there was going to be a fall off with them losing so many key defense players, captains, kind of cleaning out their wide receiver room to an extent. Throughout the season, they've had some injuries as well. But what I've seen out of that team, and it's more than Josh Allen, but what I've seen out of that team has been fantastic because James Cook's been balling his ass off. But I'm going to take the Bills there. All right, so then what that's going to set up next week is Chiefs Chargers, and it's going to give us Ravens Bills. If that's the case, great matches. Love to see it. Chiefs Chargers, that's a divisional game right there. Right? Ravens Bills, those are two of the teams. That's a MVP candidate versus MVP candidate situation. Want to see that, right? But that's in the AFC. Now the NFC, their games start tomorrow, conclude on Monday. First game, the 4:30 game, that one's going to be the Packers visiting the Eagles. Current line on that, Philly -5. Give me the Packers. Give me the Packers to cover. Give me the Eagles to win. I think this is a field goal game. I think that the Packers are going to come to play. Losing Christian Watson hurts. That definitely hurts. But the Packers are going to come to play. I like a solid game out of Josh Jacobs. I like a great game out of Saquon Barkley. I know Hurts is coming out of concussion protocol. I think this is going to be a closer game than a lot of people expect. I like Philly to win, but I like the Packers to cover. Night game tomorrow is going to be the Washington Commanders at the Bucks, and this is where it gets spicy to me because I like the Commanders. The current line on this is Tampa -3. Give me Washington. Nothing against the Bucks. The Bucks are a solid team. We know for a fact Mike Evans is going to have some numbers. We know guys like Bucky Irvin are going to play a damn good game. Baker, he's going to ball out. We know the defense is going to come to play. But I love what I've been seeing out of this young Washington team. They fight till the end. And they have weapons. They absolutely have weapons. Scary Terry out there, he balls. The young boy Jaden, who I believe is the offensive rookie of the year, I think he's going to have an outstanding game. And it does not hurt the Commanders at all that this is in Tampa and it's not in Philly or it's not in, one of these other cold weather outdoor type situations. You're outside. You're not on a track inside. Like if you were going to play the Lions, you're not on the track inside. You're outside. You got fresh air. It's at night. The weather ain't gonna be terrible. I like the Commanders to win this one straight up. I'll call that one right now. Then Monday night, you got the Vikings going to see the LA Rams. Current line on this one is Minnesota -2.5. Hey, look, I said some real good things about the Vikings and their fans. Sorry, Rico. Sorry, Skull Nation. Give me the Rams. Give me the Rams to win this one straight up. They're at home. They can match numbers with anybody in the league. Anybody. I know that the Vikings are going to come out and they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. Flores is going to have that defense absolutely lit up, especially after last week's showing. I know this. I know these things are going to happen. Darnold is going to have a good game. Addison, Jefferson going to have a good game. But the Rams were in a situation last week where they could rest their guys. They're at home. McVay, he'll have the team ready. Stafford will be ready. I just happen to like the Rams in this one for whatever reason. For whatever reason. So give me the Rams. Now, if that's what shakes, then next week we'll have the Commanders at the Lions and we'll have the Rams at the Eagles. Awesome matchups. Fantastic matchup. I think this weekend, this wild card weekend for the NFL, I like all of these games. I think they're going to be really good, high-spirited games. Bills and Broncos may be a little, may get out of hand, maybe. But I think all of these games, all the rest of these games are going to be really good games, really good TV to watch. Just the same as the games Thursday, Friday for college football playoffs were. I really enjoyed having just being in the middle of back-to-back playoff games. That's like fantastic. As a sports fan, you can't ask for anything else. I'll have my eye on the NBA. I'll have my eye on college basketball because college basketball is rolling right now. But this NFL action, fantastic, right? So before I get out of here, I also will be remiss not to send some love, thoughts, prayers to the people of Southern California. For everything that's going on over there with the fires. There's been loss of life, loss of everything for some people. Prayers up for y'all. Everybody out there, check on your people. Give people a call. We were literally in LA a week and a half ago on honeymoon. And it's such a beautiful place. It's such a well-cultured place. It's such an awesome area. And looking at some of the pictures and videos, there were things that we drove by. There were areas that we were in completely devastated by these fires. So it does hit a little bit different. So send some love out to the people of LA, Palisades, the whole area. We know that this is a tough, terrible, horrendous thing that's going on. Thoughts and prayers, hearts out to you. All right. Big shout out. Now, I hope everybody has a lovely weekend. Enjoys some good football. Enjoys kicking back. Until next time, y'all, be good or be good at it, and I will holler.